We're halfway through Rectember and less than 2 weeks away from October. We have a lot of bullish events coming up. Tomorrow, we have the announcement by the Federal Reserve about the first rate cuts in years. We also currently have Token 2049 going on in Singapore, where a lot of announcements are being made. We have one that we're going to be sharing in today's video. Also, we just saw MicroStrategy buying another $1.11 billion in Bitcoin, which means they're now holding over 1% of the entire Bitcoin supply, which they have purchased at an average price of $38,585 per Bitcoin. And the latest purchase of 18,300 BTC was acquired at over $60,000. So Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy continue to be extremely bullish. At the same time, we see BlackRock continues to shill Bitcoin and calls it a hedge against global disorder, which is very true. That is exactly what Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are here for. It's also the first time in history of the human race that we're separating money from state. And I think once you truly understand this, then you also understand why crypto is a hedge, a safe haven asset. Obviously, we're still super early. It's still extremely volatile, but long term, this is what it will evolve into. BlackRock also saying Bitcoin is a nascent asset. It's only 1/10 of the size of the gold market. And considering that BlackRock has the Bitcoin spot ETF, which means they have a product to offer, which means it's in their best interest to get the Bitcoin adoption rolling, but not only for Bitcoin, also for Ethereum. They also have an Ethereum spot ETF, but that means that they're now intrinsically motivated to get the word out, to onboard more traditional financial institutions, enterprise whales, and that means more liquidity is coming into crypto. And that also means more and more governments will accumulate crypto. We're now seeing the royal government of Bhutan, another country that is buying Bitcoin. They purchased 13,000 BTC, which is worth just around 800 million US dollars, alongside El Salvador and many other nations. To be honest, I think most of them are not actually publicly disclosing that they're buying and holding BTC, but the time will come that there will be a literal race. I think the race is already on, but a public race of who's going to embrace Bitcoin, embrace crypto, and who wants to be the crypto capital. We're already seeing that with Dubai, Singapore, Hong Kong in the East. We're also now seeing it probably happening in the West, especially in the US. Like I said, in the past weeks and months, this presidential election in the US is also a Bitcoin election, because now we're seeing Donald Trump shilling Bitcoin, shilling crypto. He was speaking at Bitcoin Nashville. He calls himself the crypto president and laid out a very bullish plan if he became president, what he would do to embrace crypto and what policies he would publish. But also, he himself launched a crypto project called World Liberty Finance. There's going to be more information about that, but most likely it's going to be like a lending protocol or something. Then we also have one of the biggest companies in crypto, Circle, announcing that they are shifting their headquarters to New York City, to be more precise, to the One World Trade Center. And that is a big sign, a big signal to the US policymakers, to the government, to the regulation, that Circle believes in the US regulatory framework to be pro-crypto, to be more welcoming to the crypto industry. And that is very interesting. Maybe they know more than we do, who knows, but it's definitely interesting. In that context, we also have a breaking announcement by Circle actually, which is that native USDC is going to be issued on the Sui blockchain. This was just announced at the Token 2049 conference in Singapore. Now, looking into the interchain, we're seeing everything slightly up to date. In fact, some coins are actually really bouncing nicely, like Celestia TR, for example, $5.20 now up 13%. And keep in mind that we have these massive unlocks coming on October 31st. So in 5-6 weeks, we have huge unlocks for TIA. Literally, I think it's around $850 million, which is going to be unlocked on the 31st. So the question is, has that already been priced in when TIA went below $4? Or is this going to cause a massive dump on October 31st? Which is also the question for you. Let me know what you think. Is it still too early to buy TIA? Should we wait for the unlocks? Or are you just holding it through? Or are you already buying, or do you already buy because you think this is already priced in? Osmosis up another 9% today, 46 cents. Still very, very low, but good to see it recovering. And then Saga. Saga has seen a nice bounce, up 16%, crawling back up to $2, it looks like. So those Saga airdrops are getting nicer by the day. Now, getting to the main topic for today, which is the Cosmos Hub. Is the Cosmos Hub too late to get its shit together? Is it too late to finally launch new products, accelerate the adoption for its core product, which is security as a service? Or is it just in time and the Cosmos Hub still has a chance? So that's also a question for you. I'm always curious to hear where you stand about with the Cosmos Hub. I get a lot of mixed replies. Some of you are saying Atom at these levels is extremely cheap and it's going to do fine. But then there's also many people that say Atom is cooked, it's done, and have already exited their position. Anyways, I'm reporting on the news that permissionless ICS is coming. The problem until now for the adoption of interchain security, which so far has only brought us 2 chains, namely Neutron and Stride, which, to be honest, are very, very high-profile chains. Neutron is a smart contract platform optimized for DeFi, Stride being a liquid staking provider and market leader in the interchain. So very high-quality, high-profile chains and teams, but the adoption for interchain security has slowed down after those 2 chains have launched. And this product launched a year and a half ago, right? So only 2 chains in a year and a half. And the main reason that some people are saying why this is not getting more adoption is because of this tedious governance process, right? Which means if a project now wants to become an Atom secure chain, get rid of their validator set and ask Cosmos Hub validators to secure the chain, which is basically what interchain security is, then they would have to go on the Cosmos Hub forum. They have to lay out an entire plan from A to Z, very detailed, wait for community feedback to come in, optimize their proposal, and then go on chain with a 2-week voting period. And all that development leading into this, if the outcome of that work that you put in depends on a governance vote where you don't know, is that actually what a community wants? Even if the forum post has decent feedback, still probably doesn't mean that the whole community is for it. So this is what probably scared a lot of projects away, including potentially projects like Noble as well, which is why permissionless ICS and also running interchain secured networks with inactive Cosmos Hub validators might actually scale adoption for Cosmos Hub shared security. The Gaia V20 upgrade, which is the one that is going to bring ICS, permissionless ICS, is now on the forum since 4 days already. So it means only 3 more days it's going to be up here, and then it will be brought on chain. And then there's only a 7-day voting period, because now for software upgrade proposals, the voting period has been decreased down to 7 days instead of 14, which accelerates the process and the arrival of interchain security. Anyways, this is all of that. There's previous proposals, 945 about explaining what permissionless ICS is, a signaling proposal, as well as ICS with inactive validators as per Prop 930, and the removal of unbonding pausing from ICS as described by ADR 018. Read through this, provide your feedback, and then go vote next week when the vote is up on chain. There's a fantastic video also by, I think, one validator. I'm going to play you one small clip, but I strongly encourage you to watch the entire video. It's really, really well made about what partially set security is, the role of the Cosmos Hub, the positioning of Atom, and how it will all be a game changer moving forward. Now, Hydro is going to be the second product, the second value proposition for the Cosmos Hub, which basically means providing liquidity as a service and launching the Atom Wars. Let the bidding wars begin. Hydro is literally launching also in 1 or 2 weeks, very, very close to being launched. And the first projects that will compete for Hydro liquidity have also been announced. Nolus Protocol, Demex Exchange, Electron DeFi, Shade Protocol, and FMOS. And the Atom bucket of liquidity is not new Atom from the Cosmos Hub treasury, but rather rerouted POL that was already distributed on Osmosis, Agoric, P-Stake, in previous proposals, Stride as well, that is now being clawed back and will be used as the initial bucket to seed Hydro. And it's going to be very interesting how that works. It's basically a bidding process where projects can bid for liquidity for their applications and also gamify this entire system, make it more fair, and eventually also lead to a value accrual mechanism for the Cosmos Hub and strengthen its position as interchain capital. So we have interchain security going to the next phase with permissionless ICS, Hydro launching, which means liquidity as a service, POL as a service, basically. And we also have Forge, which is going to be a front end for accessing Hydro and also for new projects to find validators easily and to just launch their chain. We also talked about a native integration of Spawn, which means that you will be able to spin up your Atom secured blockchain permissionlessly using Spawn in just a few clicks, and all of that through Forge as the front end. This is the future for the Cosmos Hub. The question now, like I said in the intro, is it already too late, or is it just in time and the last shot for Atom to regain more relevance? So far, 7 consumer chains appear to be waiting for Forge to launch, which means they also want to be Atom secured. and 6 projects have been lined up for the first round of Hydro. I think if successful, this number could increase, could grow. And this means for existing chains to potentially migrate and also to compete for Hydro liquidity, but also for new projects to maybe spin up their product by being an Atom secured chain first. And once they reach significant traction, let's say also a 1 billion fully diluted valuation maybe, and real users, real volume, real product market fit, then they might spin out and launch their own Cosmos SDK blockchain with their own validator set, right? Instead of the other way around, which is what it's been until now, where chains launch as standalone Cosmos blockchains with their own validator set. And now that permissionless ICF is live, they're thinking about migrating, right? It should actually be the other way around. But yeah, so I think personally that this is overdue, much needed, and permissionless ICF specifically could really scale the adoption for the Cosmos Hub security value proposition. Carter is saying Atom may just throw down the most hated rally of all time. The recipe: overconfident shorters, increasingly well distributed, which to be honest, I think is one of the most undervalued and overlooked features and strengths of the Cosmos Hub. And we actually have on-chain proof of that, right? For example, Atom 2.0, when announced in September 2022, failed. It got rejected, even though it was a proposal by Zaki, Jack Zampolin, core members of the Interchain Foundation, a lot of OG developers and contributors, but the community rejected Atom 2.0. Now you could say, okay, that's because Jay Kwon and AIB still hold the majority of the Atom supply and they can easily overrule that, right? Jay Kwon and AIB did a counter proposal, which also failed. So both proposals failed, which means we kind of have proof that neither of these OG parties, institutions, neither the ICF, nor AIB, nor Jay Kwon, nor Zaki, nor Jack, neither of them have sufficient voting power or sufficient partners kind of in their network as well to push through a vote, right? And I think this is very, very important and very significant. Most other cryptocurrencies do not have that. They have very concentrated supply and wealth, right? Depending on one person, one organization, or whatever. In Atom, you don't have that. And there probably are only 2 other coins, Bitcoin and Ethereum, where you have such a scenario. Tailwinds coming from partial set security plus Hydro plus DAO, which is also one of the most underrated things. The Cosmos Hub now has CosmWasm, native smart contracts, permissioned smart contracts. Powerful brand that still gets external eyes and ears, also true. Available on centralized exchanges. I would even add here, is very liquid and has decent volumes, right? Coinbase just added Atom perps for the exchange a couple of weeks ago, right? Because Atom is very liquid, very decentralized, and very accessible. You don't have that with other coins, right? And most of these other coins, especially the new ones, like I say always, they still have to go through this full cycle of redistribution. Now, like I said earlier, we have this tier unlock coming up. It's going to be interesting to see how that will perform. Also, redistribution of the core team, right? Are they still rallying behind the same shared vision 3 years from now, right? Because especially new chains, new launches, they still have this initial honeymoon phase where everything is fine, everyone's making money, token price is decent, they're all in a good position. But what about in 2, 3, 4, 5 years? After a full bear cycle, after a drama maybe between the founders or a shift in the vision, right? Or some community feedback or some technological challenge, right? There's so many things, so many factors that should go into assessing kind of the sustainability of a project. And also drama per second high right now, which is, to be honest, always the case, but I think for Atom specifically, because there's just so many people who are calling death upon Atom. And yes, it might fade into irrelevance. Yes, it might not become a top 10 cryptocurrency, but I've been hearing the same thing since 3-4 years now, pretty much since I got into Cosmos, right? People have been saying that. So yeah, we'll see. Maybe Carter's right and Atom will just throw the most hated rally of all time. Another thing that people also forget is that we now have more and more adoption of Atom across other applications, including Stargaze. There's now the Atom August results, basically, one of which being Crypto Dungeon, now having their Cosmic Quest first edition mint in Atom on Stargaze. Crypto Dungeon specifically, I'm excited about because they're probably going to be the first consumer chain using permissionless ICS. They're just waiting for it to go live. If you want one of their NFTs, you can either come here, support them. The price is 15 Atom right now. You can buy 10 NFTs at a time or mint 10 NFTs at a time. Or you can also let me know in the comments if you don't have 15 Atom or you just really want one, but you can't really afford it. Then let me know in the comments why you want an NFT by Crypto Dungeon, what it would mean to you, why you're excited about a project. Just tell me anything and I'll see what I can do for you. I mentioned Stride earlier being a liquid staking provider. We also have Drop.money, which is deployed on top of Neutron. That is basically Lido on Cosmos. Literally, not just, saying this as a kind of comparison, but Drop literally is part of the Lido Alliance. So this is actually Lido on Cosmos. And you can currently farm Droplets points, which is basically the point system that might later translate into Drop tokens. Drop, by the way, just crossed $10 million worth of Atom that were liquid staked with Drop, probably part also of this Droplets campaign. You can also come here now on droplets.drop.money, connect your wallet and start staking with Drop. If you need an invite code, you can use code DROPCITO, DROPCITO, and you'll get access to that feature and you can collect and farm points. Note that if you deposit your D-Atom on Levana, for example, you'll get 50x the amount of points. So you're literally boosting your points by a factor of 50 if you do that, which is what I did for most of my D-Atom that I stake with Drop. Then we have some news from Agoric. Agoric and Noble just announced a partnership, which basically makes the interoperability for USDC to flow around between EVM chains and Cosmos chains 10 times faster, more efficient, more pleasant. Agoric itself has been building out this orchestration layer, which is also a lot about kind of abstraction and bringing more efficiency and less complexity to DeFi and to just interoperability as a whole. So good to see this collaboration between Agoric and Noble. Nomic also just made a big announcement. I hope you still remember Nomic and have been compounding your NOM tokens, which we have been doing for the past 2.5 years. Now they announced that they're going to bring nBTC on the EVM onto Ethereum, which is also what Coinbase just announced. Coinbase with their CBBTC. The only difference being Coinbase is centralized, Nomic is decentralized. And to be honest, I'm a little bit disappointed, I think we all are, by the kind of communication that Nomic has done over the past couple of years, because they always come out with these big announcements and then everyone is hyped and then nothing for 6, 7, 8 months and then another big announcement, right? So yes, they are cooking in the background, but I think they should definitely ramp up their communications massively and also share more realistic roadmap updates, where they stand and all these kind of things. I've personally invested a small position into Nomic 2.5 years ago, and I don't even know much about the project, to be honest, besides the announcements that I see on social media. I think the main way how they can kind of regain trust from the community is with the airdrop, right? If NOM launches the NOM token, and the airdrop, which might actually turn out to be a decent one because we all been compounding our positions like crazy. So I think from the original airdrop amount, we're all up 10, 15, 20x from that. So if NOM launches at a decent valuation, I think this airdrop might actually be a nice one. Then we have another big product announcement. Squid 2.0 is here. Squid is one of the OG DeFi aggregators or interchain DEX aggregator platforms that is leveraging Axelar technology. So this one is built on Axelar, and you can come here now on app.squidrouter.com. It's much faster, more efficient, nicer UX, UI. So you can connect your wallets here and literally play around from any of these chains here. There's now a lot of chains that are connected here, a lot of these tokens, even NFTs now. So have fun with Squid 2.0. Maybe some alpha here. Story Protocol just announced the launch of a private alpha for a GitHub for IP app that is coming soon, and creators can now register IPs on Story, set their terms, and allow anyone to remix according to those terms. Comment below if you're interested to being an early tester. So you can now be an early tester on this upcoming application, which might also be incentivized. We don't know that, but Jason Zhao, one of the co-founders at Story Protocol, has shared that tweet. And Story Protocol is also a full-on Cosmos SDK blockchain. Then we also have news from Saga. We talked about the price earlier, which is really nice. But Vault 4 has now been fully distributed, which means the snapshot for Vault 5 might not be too far out. And this is a reminder for you that if you believe in Saga, you may now go and compound your Saga tokens, claim your rewards, stake them again, because Saga rewards loyalty. They reward and give continuous airdrops to those who claim and those who stake. And the same is actually happening also for Stride. Stride has actually pioneered this concept, I guess, where they give out airdrops, the unclaimed airdrop amount to those who claimed in another round. And we're, I think, in round 21, 22 for many of these airdrops, for Atom, for example, Osmo as well, Stars. So come here regularly, bookmark this site and check with your wallet if you're eligible to harvest more STRD tokens. FortyTwo might be doing an airdrop as well. This is an interface for the interchain, basically Amaris, but pushed over the finish line on steroids with a lot of applications integrated. And they're teasing an airdrop farm here, and also feedback by the mad scientist community, which might mean that they will do an airdrop themselves to the mad scientist NFT community. Who knows, but definitely something you should check out. And quick update from Aleph Zero, actually 2 big updates. Number 1, the launch of Neon, which is a enterprise program to onboard institutions and enterprise. And they also announced a new partner called Fairpoint, which is a joint venture between Sumitomo and Vodafone. They also have MMS Blockchain, which basically is Deutsche Telekom. They're also going to be at customers, by the way, same for Aleph Zero. And also STC Bahrain, which is also a big enterprise from the Middle East. The second announcement being that we're now entering phase 3 of the community vote about refining A0's tokenomics. Vote number 1 was about whether or not to introduce a max supply, which passed. So yes, there will be a max supply. Vote number 2 was then about whether this inflation should decrease exponentially. The answer to this was also yes. So round 3 is now about defining the exact parameters for that. And there's actually 10 proposals here. There's also an inflation calculator, and the proposal or the vote options that you have range between a max supply between 380 million A0 tokens and 920 million. You can come here on their A0 inflation calculator and see basically how the chart would look like, the staking APR as well, if roughly 2/3 are bonded, which is what's currently the case. And the majority of the comments that I've seen so far on Twitter was that people are voting for a 520 million max supply. Currently, there's 371 million in as the total supply, which means only 150 million more that would be minted over the next coming years. And that would mean a hard cap, which means the fully diluted valuation, in this case at a 40 cent price, would actually be around 210 million US dollars. Anyways, let me know what you think about A0 tokenomics, also obviously about Cosmos Hub, shared security, interchain security, and just generally where we stand with the market, and also the tier price on October 31st when the big unlocks happen. I'll see you guys very soon. Until then, stay safe and be good.